Welcome to Talk Bright English. I'm so glad you're here. On this channel, we not only learn English together, but we also explore meaningful topics that can inspire and help us grow. Today, we will dive into a very important subject: how to forgive yourself. Through this series, you'll improve your English skills, like vocabulary, pronunciation, and sentence structure, while also reflecting on ways to heal and find peace within. So get ready to learn English in a way that touches your heart and empowers your mind. Let's start this journey together and talk bright. The beginning of self-forgiveness. We all make mistakes. Some are small, some feel impossible to erase. But deep inside, one truth remains: you deserve peace. Holding on to guilt does not fix the past. It only steals the present and poisons the future. Forgiving yourself is not a sign of weakness. It's an act of courage, a step toward healing. Many people think they must punish themselves forever to prove they are sorry. But that is not the path to growth. That is a prison. You are not the same person you were when you made the mistake. Every sunrise is proof that life gives you another chance. So what if you started today by letting go of the weight you've carried for far too long? What if peace begins with you? There are things you regret, words you said, choices you made, or moments you didn't act. That's okay. Regret shows that you care, but regret is not meant to trap you. It's meant to teach you. You are allowed to learn. You are allowed to grow. Then you are allowed to move on. Think of yourself as someone you love. Would you punish them forever? Or would you say, "It's okay. You're human. Keep going"? You deserve that same compassion from yourself. Especially from yourself. Start small. Write a letter to yourself. Say what you feel. No judgment, just honesty. Then write what you would say to a friend in the same situation. Read both letters. Let your heart hear kindness. Let your inner critic rest. Let your inner friend speak. Because healing begins when truth meets grace. And when grace leads, peace follows. That's how you begin to forgive. Forgiving yourself is not about forgetting. It's about remembering, with wisdom, not with wounds. It's about taking back your power from the past and choosing to live again. Not for perfection, but for progress. You are not your worst day. You are not the sum of one mistake. You are still learning, still changing. And that is a beautiful thing. So breathe, be kind to yourself. You can begin again, right here, right now. You are not alone. Everyone has something they carry. But those who heal are the ones who choose to stop running, turn around and face themselves, not with judgment, but with love. You are strong enough to do that too. The voice inside your mind. There is a voice inside you. Sometimes it whispers hope. Sometimes it shouts blame. Often it says things you would never say to anyone else. Still you listen. Still you believe. But that voice is not always right. That voice is shaped by fear, by past wounds, by pressure to be perfect. It repeats old beliefs. You're not enough. You failed. You should have known better. But pause. Ask yourself gently, is this voice telling the truth or just the fear? What if that voice isn't your enemy, but a part of you that's scared? What if, instead of fighting it, you listened with compassion? Said, "I hear you. I understand. But we're safe now. We're growing. We can choose better thoughts. Because thoughts are not facts. Feelings are not forever. The mind is powerful, yes, but so are you. You can challenge the inner critic. You can choose a softer voice, a wiser one that says, "Yes, I made mistakes, but I am learning." That voice can say, "Yes, I feel pain, but I also feel hope." You can create a new narrative, one rooted in healing, not punishment. But to do that, you must slow down. You must notice when the old story starts playing again. Pay attention. When shame rises, ask, is this helping me grow? Or is it holding me down? If it's holding you, not lifting you, it's time to rewrite that story. To speak new words into your own heart, even if it feels strange. You have to practice kindness every day, especially when it's hardest. You have to say to yourself, "I am not what I did. I am what I choose next." That's how healing begins, not in perfection, but in permission to be human. The voice of shame wants to keep you in the past, But the voice of compassion calls you to the present. You must decide who you will listen to. One voice imprisons you. The other sets you free. And that freedom begins with forgiveness. When the voice inside you changes, the world outside you starts to feel different too. Because when you forgive yourself, you move with lighter steps. You speak with softer tones. You begin to believe that life still has something good for you. Yes, you have hurt. Yes, you have failed. But you are not finished. You are still becoming, and the journey ahead will be better. Not because you forget your past, but because you have chosen to grow beyond it with grace. Letting go of the what-ifs. What if I had done it differently? What if I hadn't said that? What if I could go back and fix it? These questions play like a broken record. They repeat, echo, torment. But the truth is, we can't go back. The past cannot be edited. It can only be understood. And yet we torture ourselves with imaginary versions of how things could have gone. We replay moments, hoping to rewrite the memory. But healing is not in the replay. Healing is in the release. You must let go of the what-ifs. Not because they're meaningless, but because they are powerless. They cannot change what happened. But they can steal your peace, your joy, your strength to move forward. Ask yourself, is it helping you to hold on? Or are the what-ifs just distractions from the truth that now is all you have? And now is where your healing starts. The more you chase the past, the further you drift from peace. We all have regrets, but regrets are not curses unless we choose to stay in them. They can be teachers, gentle ones, if we let them. Instead of asking, what if I hadn't failed, ask, what did this teach me that success couldn't? Failure has a voice too, and sometimes it is wiser than victory. Sometimes pain carves space for growth that ease never could. Sometimes falling down shows you how strong you are when you rise again. And yes, you can rise. Letting go doesn't mean you approve of what happened. It means you are tired of reliving the wound. It means you choose to stop giving your energy to something that cannot be changed. It means you choose to heal instead of hurt. Take a deep breath. Imagine holding that regret in your hands. Now picture yourself gently placing it down, not throwing it away, not forcing it to disappear, just placing it down like a heavy stone and choosing to walk without it. It might still whisper. It might still linger. But every step you take without carrying it builds your strength. And one day you will look back, not with pain, but with pride, that you kept going when it was hardest to move. You can't change what happened, but you can change what happens next. And that choice, that freedom, begins when you finally let go of the what-ifs and choose to live in the what's possible now. The truth about being human. Being human means making mistakes, not once, not twice, but again and again. It means saying things you didn't mean, choosing paths you later regret, hurting people you care about, sometimes without meaning to. And that is part of life. No one gets everything right. No one walks a perfect line. Behind every smile you see, every success you admire, there are hidden stories of failure, doubt, and recovery. You're not the only one who feels shame. You're not alone in this. But the world often tells us differently. It shows only the polished surface. It hides the broken parts, so we think we're the only ones falling apart inside. The truth is, everyone has wounds. Everyone is healing from something, including you. So why do we expect perfection from ourselves? Why do we believe we must get it right the first time, every time? That belief is a trap, and it keeps us from growing, because growth doesn't happen in perfection. It happens in the mess. You are allowed to mess up. You are allowed to fall short. What matters most is not whether you made a mistake, but what you do next. The most courageous thing you can do is look at your flaws and choose to rise anyway. You can't change that you're human, but you can change how you treat yourself when your humanity shows. Instead of cruelty, offer compassion. Instead of judgment, offer patience. Instead of silence, speak truth, even if your voice shakes. Tell yourself, I am allowed to be imperfect. I am allowed to feel pain. I am allowed to grow slowly. I am allowed to begin again. These are not excuses. They are truths. They are the foundation of real healing, the kind that lasts. It's not weakness to feel broken. It's not failure to cry. It's not shameful to carry wounds you didn't ask for. The strongest people aren't those who never fall. They are the ones who keep getting back up, even when it hurts. You don't need to wait until you are fixed to love yourself. You don't need to be completely healed to show up for your life. You can be both a work in progress and a masterpiece at the same time. That's the beauty of being human. So let go of the pressure to be perfect. Let go of the guilt for being in process. You're not here to impress anyone. You're here to live fully, honestly, and with compassion. And that starts with accepting who you are right now. Learning from the pain, not living in it. Pain has a purpose. It's not easy to accept, but it's true. Pain teaches, it reveals, it humbles. It slows us down when we're rushing past what matters. But pain was never meant to become a home. It was meant to be a teacher. Some people carry pain like a badge. They believe it gives them identity. They hold on because they fear who they'll be without it. But you are more than what hurt you. You are more than what broke your heart. You are not your pain. The goal is not to forget what happened, but to learn from it, grow because of it, and let it shape you into someone wiser. When you let pain become a place you pass through, not where you live, it transforms from burden to blessing. Ask yourself, what has my pain taught me? Maybe it taught you patience. Maybe it taught you to listen. Maybe it showed you how strong you are, how deeply you can feel, how bravely you can heal. Those are gifts, hidden inside the wounds. But learning doesn't mean staying stuck. You're not meant to replay the story forever. At some point you must say, thank you, pain, for what you've shown me. But I don't need to keep suffering to keep the lesson. That's the release. And with that release comes responsibility. The responsibility to treat yourself differently, to stop punishing yourself, to stop reopening wounds, to protect your peace, to remember the lesson, but no longer let it define who you are. Growth doesn't look like one big breakthrough. It looks like a series of small choices, choosing to breathe instead of panic, choosing kindness instead of criticism, choosing to stand up again after you've fallen, even if your legs shake. Some days healing will feel like progress. Other days it will feel like surviving. Both are valid, both matter. Don't measure your worth by how fast you move through the pain. What matters is that you are moving, even if slowly. Be proud of that. Be proud that you didn't give up. Be proud that you're still here, still choosing to rise. That is not weakness, it is strength. That is not failure, it is growth. That is not shame, it is survival with purpose. So let your pain teach you. Let it shape you. But don't let it trap you. Don't build a life around what broke you. Build from it something stronger, softer, and more whole. That is how you begin to forgive yourself and truly move forward. Rewriting your inner story. Inside your mind, there's a story playing. Maybe it says, I'm not enough. Maybe it says, I always ruin things. Maybe it says, I'll never recover from this. That story is not the truth. It's a habit, and habits can be rewritten. We often believe the story we've repeated the longest, not the one that's most true. Maybe your story was written by fear, by trauma, by people who didn't see your worth. But now you get to hold the pen. You get to rewrite it. Ask yourself, what do I want my story to say? Not just about what happened, but about who I am becoming, about who I've always been beneath the pain. Maybe the story starts with mistakes, but it doesn't have to end in shame. Your new story can say, I've made mistakes, but I'm still worthy. It can say, I've been hurt, but I choose healing. It can say, I lost my way, but now I'm finding it again. Step by step, breath by breath. To rewrite your story, you must speak to yourself differently, catch the harsh words, replace them with truth. I'm so stupid becomes I made a mistake, but I can learn. I'm broken becomes I've been through a lot and I'm still standing. That shift is powerful. You are not lying to yourself. You are choosing a perspective that allows growth instead of guilt. You're not avoiding responsibility. You're embracing it with grace. That's how your story changes, not by erasing the past, but by seeing yourself through new eyes. The eyes of compassion, the eyes of experience, the eyes that say, I am still here, therefore I still have purpose. Because you do, even when you don't feel it, especially when you don't feel it. And this new story, it's not for others, it's for you. To remind yourself on the hard days, to hold on to when old patterns return, to anchor you when you forget your strength. Speak it out loud, write it down, repeat it until it feels real. The more you tell the new story, the more your heart begins to believe it. Slowly, quietly, like sunrise creeping over a dark field. Your story is not set in stone. It's alive, and you get to decide what happens next, starting now. So begin again, not with pressure, not with perfection, but with one sentence. I forgive myself. Let that be the first line of the chapter where healing begins, where you rise, where you remember who you are beneath the pain. Releasing shame, embracing grace. Shame is heavy. It wraps around your chest. It whispers lies in your ear. It tells you that you are your worst moment, that you don't deserve to move on, that peace is for others, not for you. But shame is not truth. Shame is a shadow. It hides the light of who you really are. It thrives in silence, in secrecy, in isolation. The more you believe shame, the more you disconnect from others, from healing, from yourself. Grace, on the other hand, says, you are more than your mistakes. Grace says, you're still worthy. Grace says, you can begin again, no matter what happened. But grace only grows where shame is no longer fed. To forgive yourself, you must choose grace over shame. That doesn't mean ignoring what happened. It means refusing to let your identity be defined by a moment. It means separating your value from your failure. You are not what you did. You are not what you failed to do. You are not what they said about you. You are a full human being, flawed, yes, but worthy of kindness, of healing, of another chance, always. Shame keeps us in the past. Grace invites us into the present. Shame punishes. Grace restores. Shame says, you'll never change. Grace says, change begins here. And you, yes, you, get to choose which voice you listen to. When you feel shame rising, pause, breathe. Don't fight it with hate. Respond with compassion. Say, I see you, shame, but I no longer live under your rules. I've made peace with being imperfect. I choose grace now. This doesn't happen overnight. It's a daily practice, a daily decision. Some days, shame will still knock. But the more you welcome grace, the quieter shame becomes. The less control it holds. The more freedom you feel in your own skin. You can be honest about your past without hating yourself. You can take responsibility without destroying your worth. You can learn from your pain without living in it. This is the space where real growth happens. Quiet, powerful, lasting. So let grace speak louder. Let it reshape the way you see yourself. Let it soften the edges you've sharpened over the years. Forgiveness lives here, not in judgment, not in perfection, but in the gentle arms of grace. You are allowed to heal. You are allowed to move forward. You are allowed to rewrite the narrative, not because you did everything right, but because you've learned enough to grow and you've chosen to give yourself another chance. Self-forgiveness is a daily practice. Forgiveness is not a one-time moment. It's not something you do once, then forget forever. Self-forgiveness is a daily practice, a gentle choice, made over and over, especially on the days when your mind tries to pull you back. You may wake up some mornings and feel strong, at peace, but other mornings guilt might return, doubt might knock. The old thoughts may whisper, "You're not there yet." That's okay. You're not failing. You're still practicing. Just like healing a wound, some days it itches, some days it hurts, some days you forget it's there. But the point is, it's healing. And forgiveness works the same way, slowly, gently, patiently. One breath, one thought, one step at a time. Don't expect perfection in this process. Expect messiness. Expect ups and downs. Expect moments where you feel like you've slipped backward. That's not the end. That's part of the journey. And every step, even the shaky ones, still counts. Practice means repetition. It means choosing to speak kinder words to yourself, even if your voice trembles. It means writing affirmations, even when you don't believe them yet. It means showing up, not with confidence, but with willingness. Some days, all you can do is whisper, "I'm trying." And that is enough. That is more than enough, because effort is sacred. Trying means you care. It means you haven't given up. It means there is still something inside you choosing life. Self-forgiveness grows in these moments. Quiet, subtle, like planting seeds in the dark, trusting they will bloom. You don't always see the results right away. But every gentle word you speak to yourself is water. Every act of patience is sunlight. There will be setbacks. That's normal. But the goal is not to avoid falling. It's to rise quicker each time, with more grace, with more wisdom, with less fear. You begin to realize, even when I fall, I'm still worthy of getting back up. Let go of the idea that healing must look a certain way. Your journey is your own. It won't match anyone else's pace or shape. And that's okay. What matters is that you stay committed to the practice, even when the feelings don't match. Because over time, this daily effort becomes who you are. Self-forgiveness becomes your rhythm, not something you do, but something you live. A part of how you breathe, how you love, how you walk through the world with gentleness and strength. You are not defined by a moment. One moment does not define you. One decision, one failure, one season of pain. It may be part of your story, but it is not your whole identity. You are more than a snapshot. You are a full, unfolding journey. But we often let moments become labels. I failed becomes I am a failure. I lied becomes I'm not trustworthy. I hurt someone becomes I am bad. And soon, we stop seeing who we are beneath the mistake. This is the danger of shame. It turns experiences into identities. But your worth is not erased by a wrong turn. Your value is not reduced by a choice you made when you didn't know better, when you were just trying to survive. Mistakes are moments. Growth is a lifetime. Who you were is not who you have to stay. Every single day offers a chance to rewrite how your story unfolds. But first you must separate what happened from who you are. You are not a failure. You are someone who tried and learned. You are not broken. You are someone who carries pain and healing at once. You are not a lost cause. You are still here, still growing, still worthy of love and peace. The truth is, even your worst moment didn't cancel your value. It may have caused hurt, it may need repair, but you are still deserving of kindness, of breath, of another sunrise. You are still someone who matters deeply to this world. Look back with honesty, not hate. Look forward with courage, not fear. Look inward with compassion, not judgment, because the way you see yourself shapes the life you're building. And you deserve a life not built on shame. If someone else made the same mistake you did, would you believe they are forever unworthy? Or would you believe they could grow, change, and become better? Give yourself that same belief, that same second chance, that same mercy. Forgiving yourself doesn't mean you excuse the pain. It means you refuse to be frozen by it. You commit to growth. You commit to change. You commit to walking forward, even if your past still echoes behind you. So today, release the grip of that one moment. Let it be a lesson, not a life sentence. Speak gently to your heart. I am not that moment. I am more. I am healing. I am human. I am moving forward, one breath at a time. The power of choosing again. Life is full of choices. Some you wish you could take back. Some changed everything. Some still wake you up at night. But here's the truth. No matter what you chose before, you still have the power to choose again. Today. You are not stuck in the decisions of your past. You are not chained to old mistakes. Regret might visit, but it doesn't get to drive your life. The most powerful words you can say are, "That was then, this is now." Every sunrise is a quiet invitation. Begin again. Not as someone who forgets, but as someone who has learned, someone who has fallen and still stands, someone who carries wisdom in their scars. That is strength. That is power. You don't have to wait until you feel ready. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing to try again, to love again, to believe again. Choosing again is not weakness. It is courage reborn. It is hope reawakened. Think of all the things you've already survived, all the storms that didn't drown you, all the nights that felt endless, and yet you're still here. That means something. That means you've already chosen again, even when it was hard. So what will you choose today? To forgive instead of punish, to breathe instead of panic, to believe instead of retreat. You don't have to choose everything at once, just one small thing, one shift, one gentle yes to yourself. And if you fall again, that's okay. It's not the end. You get to choose again tomorrow. Healing is not a straight line. Forgiveness is not a one-time event. It's a rhythm, a repetition, a quiet returning to the part of you that still hopes. Let go of the idea that you missed your only chance. Life is not a test you failed. It's a path you walk, and sometimes stumble on. But the road doesn't end when you trip. It continues. It waits. It welcomes you back. This is the power you've always had, the power to begin again. You don't need permission. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to decide, I am not my worst choice. I am not done. I choose again. I choose healing. So today, take that step. Whisper that truth. Even if your voice shakes, say it anyway. I forgive myself. I choose grace. I choose life. I choose me. Then breathe. Then walk. You are doing it. One brave choice at a time. Healing without needing approval. Forgiving yourself is personal. It's between you and your own soul. But often we wait. We wait for someone to say, it's okay. We wait for permission. We wait for approval from those we hurt, or those who never understood us. But healing cannot wait for applause. It cannot depend on whether others understand your pain or not. Some may never see the full picture. Some may never forgive you. Some may have moved on or disappeared. Still, your healing matters. You don't need everyone to believe in your growth. You don't need to prove yourself to those who've judged your past. You don't need to stay small just to make others comfortable. This journey is yours, and your healing doesn't need permission. Let go of the need to be validated before you begin. Let go of the hope that everyone will cheer for your progress. They might not, but you can. You must. Because you are the one walking this path, not them. Forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness, often begins quietly, alone, without fanfare, without recognition. It starts in the silence of your heart, in the still moments, in the whispers you say to yourself when no one else is listening. It's okay to wish others could understand. It's okay to hope for reconciliation, but don't make healing depend on it. Don't put your peace in someone else's hands. Some people will never give you the closure you crave, and that's still okay. Closure doesn't always come from others. Sometimes it comes when you stop asking why, when you stop needing approval, when you stop waiting for someone else to say, you deserve to move on. You can say it to yourself. Say it now. Say it even if your voice trembles. Say, I deserve to heal. Say, I am allowed to grow. Say, even if they don't understand, I will keep walking forward. That is strength. That is ownership. That is freedom. The truth is, people's opinions can change like the wind. Some may forgive you one day, then judge you the next. Some may never acknowledge your effort. That doesn't mean it's worthless. It means your peace must come from within. So stop waiting, stop explaining, stop shrinking your healing to fit into someone else's timeline. You don't need their yes, you don't need their closure, you need your own courage. And that courage begins with this simple truth: I choose to heal anyway. Making peace with your past self. There's a version of you in the past, the one who made the mistake, said the wrong thing, chose the wrong path. Maybe you avoid thinking about them, maybe you judge them harshly, but they were trying. They didn't know what you know now. You've grown since then. You've learned, you've suffered, you've awakened, but you cannot hate the version of yourself that didn't know better and still expect to feel whole. Healing requires a different kind of honesty, a softer kind of truth. Instead of asking, why was I like that? Ask, what was I missing back then? Maybe it was safety, maybe it was wisdom, maybe it was support, love, or clarity. Often we make poor choices when we're hurting or scared. That's not weakness, that's humanity. The past version of you did the best they could with what they had, even if it wasn't enough, even if it hurt someone, even if it caused damage. It's not about denying the pain. It's about understanding the person behind it. Speak to that version of you, not with blame, but with compassion. Say, you were lost, you were hurting, you were confused, and I see that now. I won't forget your choices, but I choose to understand where they came from. That's where peace begins, not in forgetting, but in honoring the whole story. Your younger self was not a villain. They were a person shaped by wounds and trying to cope. Maybe clumsily, maybe selfishly, but now you get to break the cycle. You're not that person anymore. You've outgrown them. But to grow without guilt, you must include them in your story. You must say, that was me, but it's not all of me. And I choose to love the person I've been too. It's easy to love ourselves when we're proud, harder when we're ashamed. But the real power comes from choosing love, even for the part of us we'd rather forget. That's where true self-forgiveness blooms, not in denial, but in radical honesty. Today, look at your past self with kind eyes. Maybe write them a letter. Tell them what you wish they had known. Tell them they mattered. Tell them they weren't alone. Tell them that even now you carry their pain with care. And then thank them, because even in their mistakes they brought you here, to growth, to healing, to deeper awareness. Make peace with who you were so you can fully embrace who you are becoming. That is forgiveness. That is freedom. When guilt becomes growth, guilt is not always a bad thing. Sometimes guilt is the signal that your heart still works, that you care, that your conscience is alive. But when guilt lingers too long, it stops helping. It begins to harm. That's when it must transform. Guilt is meant to alert, not to imprison. Its job is to help you reflect, not self-destruct. When guilt becomes punishment, it loses its purpose. That's when you must ask, what can I learn from this, and how can I move forward differently? Let your guilt guide you, not crush you. Let it open your eyes, but not close your heart. Use it as a teacher. Ask it questions. Ask, what was I missing? What would I do now instead? What needs to change? And when the answers come, take action. Don't just carry guilt. Convert it into growth. Apologize if needed. Repair what you can, but also forgive yourself. Because growth isn't proven by suffering. It's proven by what you choose to do next. The world doesn't need you to stay guilty. It needs you to become wiser, kinder, more self-aware. It needs you to carry your lessons, not your shame. Because your healing is not selfish. It's necessary. It creates space for better things to bloom. Sometimes we think that holding on to guilt honors the pain we caused, but it doesn't. It keeps everyone stuck, including the people you hurt. Real honor comes when you take responsibility and also give yourself permission to grow beyond it. You are not helping anyone by staying broken. You help when you rise, when you change, when you show that people can evolve. That one bad chapter doesn't mean the whole story must be burned. That redemption is real and possible and beautiful. Guilt says, I was wrong. Growth says, now I will live better. Guilt is the spark. Growth is the fire. Don't stay in the spark. Let it ignite something new. Let it become the reason you live with more awareness and purpose than ever before. And when guilt returns, as it sometimes will, don't let it overwhelm you. Let it remind you that you've chosen a different path now. Let it humble you, but not define you. Let it soften you, but not silence you. You've made mistakes, yes, but you've also made progress. Never forget that both can be true. And today, if you're choosing to grow, even slowly, even imperfectly, then your guilt has already served its greatest purpose. Silence is not healing. Many people think that if they stop talking about it, it will go away, that if they bury the memory deep enough, it will disappear. But silence is not healing. Silence is where shame grows. It's where pain hides and festers quietly inside. Avoidance feels safe at first, but the truth always finds a way back, in dreams, in flashbacks, in self-doubt, in the quiet moments when no one else is around. What you silence on the outside, your body remembers on the inside. Healing asks for honesty. It asks you to name what happened, to tell the truth, not just to others, but to yourself. That doesn't mean you need to shout it, but it means facing what you've been running from for far too long. You don't have to tell the whole world, but you need to stop hiding it from yourself. Say the words, admit the truth, write it down, speak it in a whisper if you must. There is power in naming what once held you in silence. Sometimes the act of saying it is what sets you free. You might cry, you might tremble, you might feel like you're breaking. But that's not the end, that's the beginning. The breaking makes space for something softer, stronger, more honest to rise. Your voice matters, your truth matters, and even if no one else ever hears it, you deserve to hear it from yourself. You deserve to stop carrying it alone. You deserve the peace that only honesty can bring. Not perfect words, just real ones. When you speak, you take your power back. The thing that held you in shame no longer has control. You step into the light. You remind yourself, I am not what I've hidden. I am what I choose to heal. I am still worthy. So start small. Tell a trusted friend, a therapist, or write it in a private letter you'll never send. Let the truth live outside your mind. Let it breathe. Let it stop being a secret, because secrets can't heal. Only truth can. This is not about rehashing pain endlessly. It's about releasing it, letting it leave your body, your heart, your breath, letting yourself stop pretending and realizing the truth didn't destroy you. It finally made space for light. You don't have to be loud, but you do have to be real. And in that realness, healing begins, slowly, softly, like a sunrise after a long night. You are allowed to speak, you are allowed to feel, and you are allowed to finally let it go. Kindness begins with you. We often show kindness to others with ease. A friend makes a mistake and we comfort them. A stranger stumbles and we help them up. But when it's us, when we fall, we become the harshest voice in the room. Why is it so hard to offer ourselves the same compassion we give others so freely? Why do we believe we deserve less grace than we give away? That mindset is learned, not natural. And what's learned can be unlearned. You deserve kindness, not just when you succeed, especially when you fail. You deserve patience, not pressure, understanding, not punishment, encouragement, not blame. Speak to yourself like someone you love, especially on the days you feel unlovable. Kindness doesn't mean ignoring your flaws. It means choosing to hold them gently. It means saying, yes, I made a mistake, but that doesn't make me a mistake. It's choosing to walk with yourself, not against yourself, through the mess. Imagine if your younger self stood in front of you, hurting, ashamed, afraid. Would you scold them? Or would you kneel down, hold their hand and say, it's okay, I'm here. We'll get through this together. That's the voice you need now. You are still that same human, deserving of comfort, deserving of care, deserving of a hand that says, keep going, you're doing better than you think. Kindness is not weakness. It is power. The kind of power that heals from the inside out. Every time you choose self-kindness, you rewrite an old script. You undo the harshness that others may have taught you. You silence the inner critic, and you let a new voice rise, one that speaks with warmth, with truth, with gentle courage. You may think, but I don't deserve kindness after what I did. That's shame talking, and shame doesn't tell the truth. You don't earn kindness. You give it freely, especially to yourself, especially when it's hardest to believe you're worthy of it. Start today. A soft word, a deep breath, a small act of care. Write a kind note to yourself. Look in the mirror without judgment. Celebrate a tiny win. These are not silly things. They are healing. They are necessary. They matter. Because when kindness begins with you, it flows outward. It shapes how you love others, how you walk through the world, how you face the past, and how you welcome the future. It all begins here, with how you choose to treat yourself. You can be both healing and hurting. Healing is not a straight line. It doesn't happen in perfect order. It's not clean or predictable. Some days you'll feel peace. Other days, pain will visit again. And that's okay. You can be healing and still hurting. Both can exist together. You don't have to be fully okay to be growing. You don't have to be free of sadness to be strong. You don't have to pretend you're past it all. Real healing allows space for every feeling, the progress and the setbacks side by side. Some days you'll smile and mean it. Other days you'll smile just to make it through. Both days are valid. Both days matter. Because even on the hard days, you're still choosing to show up. You're still choosing to breathe, to try. There is power in that quiet trying, power in waking up and continuing, even when it hurts. That is not weakness. That is resilience. That is what healing really looks like. Not a highlight reel, but a process. Honest, imperfect, ongoing. You are allowed to have moments where the past still aches. You are allowed to cry without explanation. You are allowed to rest without guilt. Healing isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about honoring what's real and growing anyway. Forgiveness, especially of yourself, doesn't erase the pain. It allows you to hold it differently, with compassion instead of shame, with understanding instead of blame, with softness instead of the sharpness you once used to protect yourself. On the days you feel like you've gone backward, pause, breathe, remember how far you've already come. Progress isn't lost because you had a hard moment. Healing isn't undone by feeling pain. This is all part of it. Let it be. You're still becoming, still learning how to carry your story with grace, still figuring out how to hold your own heart. That's not failure, that's growth, and it's happening. Even if no one sees it, even if you don't feel it yet. Trust the process, even when it feels slow. Trust that showing up for yourself day by day is enough. Trust that this mixture of healing and hurting is sacred. It means your heart is still open. It means you're still alive, still trying. So let the tears fall when they need to. Let the joy rise when it comes. Let the mess exist without shame. You don't have to be fully healed to love yourself. You just have to keep walking, with honesty, with softness, and with hope. The lies you must unlearn. Forgiving yourself often starts by unlearning the lies you've carried for years. Lies that say you're unworthy, that you're beyond repair, that one mistake defines your entire worth. These lies didn't start with you, but you've lived under them too long. Maybe someone told you, directly or silently, that you had to be perfect to be loved. Maybe you were taught that failure made you less valuable. Maybe you internalize the message that punishment, not healing, is what you deserve. None of this is true. You are not your worst decision. You are not the version of you from your lowest day. You are not broken beyond hope. You are a full, complex, evolving person, and that means you are allowed to change, allowed to rise, allowed to heal. Unlearning begins with awareness. Listen to the voice in your head. Notice the words it uses. Would you say those same words to someone you care about? If not, why are you speaking them to yourself? Replace lies with truth. one sentence at a time. The lie says, you'll never get better. The truth says, I am learning every day. The lie says, you're too much. The truth says, I am allowed to take up space. The lie says, you're not enough. The truth says, I am worthy as I am. These new truths might feel unfamiliar at first, but the more you practice them, the more your heart will believe them. And when you start living from truth, not shame, forgiveness flows more freely, because you begin to see who you really are. You are not here to live in punishment. You are here to grow, to give, to heal, to become more of who you were meant to be, not despite your past, but because of how it shaped you. That shift is where freedom begins. Let go of the voices that aren't yours, the ones that echo from childhood, from fear, from people who never understood your heart. Those voices don't belong in your future. Replace them with gentler ones, with wiser ones, with your own. This isn't toxic positivity. This is rooted truth. You don't have to lie to yourself to heal. You just have to stop believing the lies that were never true, and choose to write a new internal narrative, one grounded in mercy and strength. Unlearning takes time. Be patient. Some lies are deep, but each moment of awareness is a step. Each kind word is a shift. Each day you practice love instead of shame. You reclaim a part of yourself. And that is what forgiveness is truly about. You don't owe perfection to heal. Many people believe they must earn healing, that they must prove they've changed, that they must live without flaws, without doubt, without falling again. But that is not healing. That is performance. And forgiveness does not require perfection to begin. You are allowed to be in progress. You are allowed to stumble as you grow. You are allowed to be both healing and human. Because real healing is not about becoming flawless. It's about becoming honest, grounded, and more compassionate with yourself. The pressure to be perfect can suffocate your growth. It keeps you from taking risks. It makes you hide your struggles. It convinces you that healing is a finish line you'll never reach. But healing is not a competition. It's a practice. You are not here to impress the world. You are here to come home to yourself, to learn what peace feels like, to forgive the younger version of you, to love the current one, and to believe in the one you're still becoming. You don't need a spotless record to be worthy of kindness. You don't need to get everything right to be allowed to rest. You don't need to look strong every moment to prove you're growing. You just need to stay willing. That's enough. Progress might look small. One honest conversation, one moment of choosing calm over chaos, one deep breath before reacting, one apology to yourself. These are quiet acts of healing, and they matter more than any illusion of perfection. Sometimes healing means letting others see your mess, letting them witness your trying, letting them understand that you are human, not a savior. You're not here to carry every burden alone. Vulnerability is not failure. It's proof you are alive. The truth is, perfection never created connection, but honesty does, softness does. The willingness to say, I'm still learning, opens more doors than pretending you've arrived. You don't need a flawless journey to be a guide to others. Your scars tell a story, not of shame, but of survival. They say, I've been through something real and I'm still here. You don't need to hide them to deserve grace. You don't need to erase your past to begin again. So exhale. Let go of the pressure to be perfect. You're already enough as you are, flawed, growing, trying, healing, forgiving. You are the living proof that perfection is not the goal. Peace is, and peace begins with accepting your humanity. What you did is not who you are. There's a difference between your actions and your identity. What you did, no matter how painful or regrettable, is not the full picture of who you are. It may be part of your past, but it does not define your worth. Sometimes we confuse mistakes with identity. I failed becomes I am a failure. I lied becomes I'm a liar. But identity is deeper than behavior. You are not a label. You are not a moment. You are someone who can grow. Yes, take responsibility. Be honest. Don't minimize what happened, but don't let that one chapter become the whole book. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to repair. You are allowed to move forward with truth and humility. Growth begins when you separate shame from reflection. Shame says, "This mistake is who I am." Reflection says, "This mistake taught me something." One keeps you stuck, the other moves you forward. Choose the voice that helps you rise. Even in your worst moment, there was more to you. There was a part of you still aching for love, a part of you still hoping to be seen, a part of you that didn't want to harm. That part matters too. It always has. You are not defined by your lowest moment. You are defined by what you choose after, by how you repair, by how you soften, by how you learn. That is your real character, not the wound, but what you build in the healing. Self-forgiveness begins with recognizing your wholeness. You are not just your flaws. You are also your efforts, your intentions, your regrets, your healing. You are the full picture, not the single frame you're afraid others will judge. Think of someone you love. Have they made mistakes? Have they ever disappointed you? And yet, you still love them. You still believe in their ability to grow. Can you offer that same grace to yourself? You deserve that same belief. Remind yourself gently, "What I did hurt, but it's not all I am. I am still worthy. I am still growing. I am still becoming. And I choose to live in the fullness of who I really am, not just my past." So take a breath. Release the lie that you are nothing more than your worst decision. You are human. You are healing. And you are allowed to walk forward with the wisdom of what happened and the courage to never be defined by it again. The future still belongs to you. When you carry guilt for too long, the future starts to feel unreachable. You convince yourself that you've lost your chance, that the best parts of life are behind you, that because of one mistake, you no longer deserve anything beautiful ahead. But that's not true. The future still belongs to you. Even if you feel broken, even if you've caused pain, even if you've disappointed yourself, life hasn't given up on you. And you don't have to give up on yourself either. Forgiving yourself is the bridge between your past and your future. It's the act of saying, "I will not let this be the end of my story." It's choosing possibility over punishment, hope over despair, movement over stagnation. You still have dreams inside you. You still have love to give, lessons to teach, purpose to live. Your past may shape you, but it does not get to steal the rest of your days. Not if you decide to reclaim them now. The truth is, you are not the only one who has struggled, who has fallen, who has hurt someone or made the wrong choice. You are not uniquely unworthy. You are just human, like everyone else. And humans are allowed to begin again. Let the past inform you, not imprison you. Let it give you insight, not identity. Let it deepen your empathy, not your shame. Because your past cannot change, but your future, that's still unfolding, and it's waiting for you to show up. Even if others can't see your growth yet, even if your steps are small and quiet, you are still moving. And movement is what matters, not speed, not perfection, just the choice to try again, to step forward anyway. Think of the people who will benefit from your healing, the lives you'll touch, the strength you'll offer, the compassion you'll pass on. Forgiving yourself doesn't just set you free, it creates a ripple. It makes space for better things ahead. So when doubt whispers, "You don't deserve another chance," respond with truth. "I'm still here, I'm still trying, I still matter." Because you do. Because your future is not cancelled. Because your story is not finished. Today, choose to believe in what still can be. Choose to hope even if it hurts. Choose to forgive even if it takes time. The future still belongs to you, and every gentle step you take toward it is already rewriting your story. Learning to trust yourself again. One of the hardest parts of self-forgiveness is rebuilding trust with yourself. After a mistake, especially one that hurt others, you might doubt your judgment. You might question your intentions. You might think, "Can I ever trust myself again?" The answer is yes. But trust, like healing, takes time. You rebuild it through action, through showing up, through making new choices, slowly, consistently. Trust isn't built by being perfect, it's built by being honest, aware, and willing to grow. Start small. Trust yourself to speak kindly today. Trust yourself to pause before reacting. Trust yourself to admit when you're wrong. These simple acts are not weak, they are powerful. They are how you remind yourself, I am still safe within me. You may have betrayed your own values once. You may have ignored your intuition, but that doesn't mean you can't return to yourself. You are still here, still capable of alignment, still able to make choices that reflect the real you. It's okay if you're afraid to trust yourself again. That fear means you care. It means you're taking this seriously. Don't let the fear stop you. Let it walk beside you quietly while you prove, day by day, that you can be trusted again. Forgiving yourself doesn't erase the past, but it empowers your present. It lets you say, I am no longer who I was. It invites you to believe in your ability to choose better, to live wiser, to become whole again from the inside out. There will be moments when doubt returns, when the old voice says, be careful, you messed up before. Listen but don't obey. Respond with compassion. Yes, I've made mistakes, but I'm learning. And learning is how I earn back my trust. You don't need to be flawless to be trustworthy. You just need to be committed to growth, to listening, to making things right when they go wrong. Trust is not about never falling. It's about choosing to stand back up with integrity. You are not beyond redemption. You are not unworthy of believing in yourself. You are someone who is trying, and that effort is already rebuilding the bridge. With each step, with each choice, with each honest moment, you return to yourself. So today, place your hand over your heart. Whisper, I'm still learning to trust myself, but I won't give up on me. That whisper becomes a promise, a vow, and in time, with grace, it becomes a truth you believe again. You deserve peace, not punishment. Sometimes we hold on to guilt because we think we're supposed to suffer, that if we hurt, we're proving we care, that if we punish ourselves long enough, we'll finally earn forgiveness. But suffering isn't redemption, and punishment doesn't create peace. Real peace doesn't come from staying in pain. It comes from choosing a new way to live, from releasing what no longer serves you, from honoring the past while no longer carrying its weight. Peace is not something you must earn through misery. You've already acknowledged your mistake. You've felt the sorrow. You've learned the lesson. What's left now is not more pain, but permission. Permission to stop hurting yourself. Permission to move forward. Permission to stop reliving what you can't undo. You don't need to keep bleeding to prove your regret. You don't need to live under shame forever to show you care. Healing is not abandonment of the past. It's an act of respect. It's choosing not to let that pain define your whole life. Guilt may have served a purpose once. It woke you up. But if it stays too long, it becomes a prison. And you deserve freedom. You deserve rest. You deserve a life that is not centered around your lowest moments. Let go of the idea that peace is something you don't deserve, that only perfect people are allowed to rest. You are human, you are learning, you are growing, and that is enough. You don't have to stay small to be sorry. In fact, staying in punishment serves no one. The world doesn't benefit from your suffering. It benefits from your healing, from your growth, from your renewed ability to love, from your choice to live fully, even with a complicated past. So give yourself permission today to breathe without guilt, to smile without explaining, to dream without hesitation. You are not abandoning responsibility. You are honoring transformation. You are letting go of pain that no longer belongs to you. There will always be people who don't understand, who think you should suffer more. That's okay. Their journey is not yours. Your job is not to convince everyone. Your job is to keep walking, to keep healing, to keep choosing peace over punishment. Say it softly if you must. I deserve peace. I deserve light. I deserve to feel whole again. That is not arrogance, that is truth, that is forgiveness, and that is the beginning of something beautiful waiting on the other side of your healing. You can love yourself while still growing. It's easy to think you have to wait until you've arrived to love yourself, until the pain is gone, until the past is fixed, until you become everything you wish you were. But love doesn't have to wait for perfection. You don't have to earn your own love. You don't have to reach some distant version of yourself before you're allowed to be kind inside your skin. Growth and love are not enemies. They walk hand in hand. They help each other bloom. You are still learning, still unlearning, still healing, still becoming, and that is all the more reason to love yourself now, in this fragile, brave, becoming version of you. You need love most when you feel unsure of your worth. Loving yourself while you're growing means offering grace to your missteps. It means letting your imperfections breathe. It means saying, I'm not done yet, but I'm still worthy of care, of rest, of hope. That kind of love heals deeply. It's not ego, it's not selfish, it's not denial, it's recognition of your softness, of your effort, of your quiet victories, of the courage it takes to still show up for life, even when you're still cleaning up old wounds. You don't have to hide your flaws to be lovable. You don't have to prove anything to be worthy. You don't have to wait until others approve. The love that comes from within is the love that sustains, and you are allowed to give it freely. Think of how you would treat a child learning something new. Would you only love them when they get it right? Or would you encourage them, remind them they're doing their best, and celebrate their effort? That's the voice you deserve inside. Speak to yourself like someone who matters, because you do, not someday, not after you fix everything, right now, as you are, in progress, in motion, in repair, in your humanity. You are not a problem, you are a person who has walked through pain, who has made mistakes, who has kept going, who has chosen healing over hiding. That is powerful. That is worthy of love. You don't need to become someone else to deserve what your heart quietly longs for. So look in the mirror and say, I'm still learning and I still love myself. Not because you're perfect, but because you're human, because you're trying, and because love is not a reward. It's a right, one that begins within you. The strength in starting over. Starting over doesn't mean you failed. It means you're brave enough to try again. It means you refuse to let the past define you. It means you still believe something better is possible, even if it's hard, even if it takes time. We often fear beginning again. We think it makes us weak. We think others will judge us, but real strength isn't staying stuck. Real strength is saying, this no longer serves me, and having the courage to take a different step forward. Starting over may look like changing careers, healing a relationship, setting boundaries, or rebuilding your mindset. It may be quiet, it may be messy, it may be lonely at first, but it's also sacred. It's the soil where transformation grows. Sometimes starting over means returning to yourself, to the version of you before the shame, before the pressure, before the guilt. It's not always about creating someone new. Sometimes it's about coming home to who you were before you forgot. Forgiveness often opens the door to a new beginning, but you must be the one to walk through. No one else can take that step for you. No one else can decide when it's time to stop living inside the echo of your old regrets. Starting over doesn't erase what happened. It redefines what happens next. It allows you to reclaim the pen and rewrite the story. Not with denial, but with intention. Not by forgetting, but by choosing what chapter comes after the healing. Don't wait for everything to be perfect before you start again. Perfection is a moving target. It will keep you paralyzed. What matters is willingness, openness, the courage to say, I want something more for myself, and I'm willing to begin. You may feel scared. That's normal. You may feel uncertain. That's part of it. But under the fear is strength, a quiet power that says, I have lived through darkness, and I still choose light. That decision alone is life-changing. Even if no one else understands, even if your path looks different than theirs, you are still allowed to begin again. You don't need permission. You don't need applause. You only need belief in your ability to keep walking forward. So today, start where you are. Breathe, reflect, choose one small step, and remind yourself, starting over is not the end. It is the beginning. And beginnings, though uncertain, hold the power to take you somewhere you've never imagined, yet fully deserve. Letting go without forgetting. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending it never happened. It doesn't mean erasing every detail or denying your pain. Letting go means loosening the grip of the past so it no longer controls your every breath, thought, or decision. You can remember and still heal. You can honor the past without carrying its weight every day. The goal is not to forget, it's to remember with peace. To look back without being pulled back. To reflect without reliving. That's the difference. Some people think if they forgive themselves, they're excusing what happened. But forgiveness is not approval. It's not dismissal. It's acknowledgement, followed by release. It's saying, yes, this happened. And now I choose to carry it differently. There is wisdom in your past, even in the hurt, even in the shame, even in the parts you wish had never happened. Those moments shaped you, taught you, humbled you, and while you may never be proud of them, you don't have to be imprisoned by them. Letting go is an act of courage. It's saying, I've held this pain long enough. It's choosing to stop rehearsing the worst days of your life on repeat. It's allowing yourself to breathe again, love again, live again, without guilt as your shadow. You may carry scars, you may carry memories, but you don't have to carry the blame forever. There comes a time when the most responsible, mature, and loving thing you can do is set the pain down. Not ignore it, not deny it, just release it. Your story matters, all of it, but it doesn't have to keep hurting. Let the past be a teacher, not a tormentor. Let it shape your heart, not shatter your hope. You can honor what happened without letting it ruin what's next. So no, you don't have to forget, but you do have to forgive. Not because the past disappears, but because your future deserves room to grow. Your heart deserves space to rest, and your soul deserves freedom from chains you no longer need to wear. Tell yourself, I will carry the lesson, not the punishment. I will keep the memory, but release the shame. I will respect what shaped me and still move forward with peace. That is the quiet miracle of letting go without forgetting. And every time the past resurfaces, meet it gently. Say, yes, I remember, but I've also changed. Say, that was part of me, but it's not the end of me. And in that simple truth, you will find the peace you've been searching for. You are still worthy of good things. One of the quiet lies guilt whispers is this, that you no longer deserve goodness, that because of your past, you've lost the right to joy, to love, to second chances. But your worth is not erased by your mistakes. You are still worthy of good things, not because you've earned them perfectly, but because you are human, because you are trying, because you are learning. The light doesn't disappear just because you once walked through the dark. You don't have to punish yourself by pushing happiness away. You don't have to reject love when it comes. You don't have to block peace because you think you haven't suffered enough. Your healing doesn't require more pain. It asks for acceptance. There's a difference between consequences and self-sabotage. You may have faced consequences already, but self-sabotage is when you continue punishing yourself long after the lesson is over. It's when you deny your own growth, your own goodness, your own right to begin again. So let the kindness in, let the laughter in, let the sunrise in, let the hand that reaches out to help actually hold you. Don't flinch from love just because you've forgotten how to receive it. Let it remind you of your worth. You are not what happened. You are what you choose now. And if you choose grace, compassion, and truth, then you are living proof that beauty can rise from brokenness. You are a garden in bloom, not a ruin to mourn. When good things find you, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "Why not me?" You've struggled, you've grown, you've looked your pain in the eye and kept going. That kind of courage deserves soft landings. That kind of soul deserves new beginnings. Even if others can't see your transformation yet, you can. Even if some people never forgive you, you are still allowed to forgive yourself. Even if the world is slow to offer grace, you can start by offering it inward. Every day is an invitation to soften, to receive, to rebuild, to open your heart again. You're not meant to live in exile from joy. You're meant to come home to it, slowly, bravely, one breath and one moment at a time. So today, whisper it. I am still worthy of good things. Say it until it feels real. Say it even if your voice trembles, because it's true, because you're healing, and because your story isn't over. It's just beginning a better chapter. Becoming your own safe place. We all want safety, not just from the outside world, but within ourselves. But when you carry guilt, regret, or self-blame, your own mind stops feeling safe. Your thoughts become heavy, your inner voice becomes harsh, your silence becomes loud. Forgiveness begins with becoming your own safe place again, a space where you are not attacked by your past, where your thoughts don't tear you down, where your own presence is a refuge, not a battlefield, a soft place to land when life feels hard. This doesn't happen overnight. It begins with awareness, with catching yourself when the old script plays, "I'm not good enough. I always ruin things. No one will ever understand me." Then, gently, not forcefully, you begin to rewrite the narrative. You begin to speak differently. "I made a mistake, but I'm not a mistake. I'm learning how to show up better. I'm allowed to be kind to myself." These are small phrases, but they build a new internal home, one made of grace. A safe place isn't perfect. It still faces storms, but it holds firm, it offers shelter. And that's what you must offer yourself. Not escape from pain, but presence within it. Not denial, but devotion. Not avoidance, but attention. Being a safe place means giving yourself room to feel without judgment. It means holding your fear without shame. It means saying, "I see you, I hear you, you're still worthy." And repeating those words, especially on the days you doubt them most. You become your own safe place when you stop abandoning yourself, when you stay even when it's hard, when you listen even when it hurts, when you choose softness over self-attack, and when you trust that your healing is worth protecting. Think of the people you feel safest with. It's not because they're perfect. It's because they're consistent. They listen. They don't rush your pain. They don't shame your tears. That's who you get to become for yourself. You are not too broken to build safety again. You are not too late to become a softer home for your soul. You can be the one who holds yourself through the storm and shows yourself that you're not alone anymore. So breathe gently, speak softly, listen honestly, and promise yourself this: I will not leave me. That promise, when kept, becomes your strength. It becomes your anchor, and it becomes the foundation of a life built not on guilt, but on love. The power of small steps. Healing can feel overwhelming when you look at the whole journey ahead. You might wonder, how will I ever get through this? How will I ever forgive myself completely? The truth is, healing happens one small step at a time. You don't need to rush. You don't need to fix everything at once. You just need to keep moving, even if the steps are tiny, even if some days you feel stuck. Progress isn't always visible, but it's still happening beneath the surface. Small steps are powerful. They build momentum. They create new habits of kindness, patience, and honesty. Each moment you choose compassion over judgment, you are healing. Each time you breathe through the pain instead of running from it, you are growing stronger. Celebrate these small victories. They matter more than you realize. Forgiving yourself doesn't mean forgetting overnight. It means choosing daily, in countless little ways, to be gentle with yourself, to trust the process, to keep coming back again and again. Remember, mountains are climbed one step at a time. Rivers are crossed one stone at a time. Healing is the same. It's made of moments, of choices, of courage wrapped in quiet persistence. You don't have to do it all at once. When you feel discouraged, remind yourself, I'm doing enough. When you feel impatient, say, healing takes time, and I'm patient with myself. When you feel overwhelmed, pause and breathe. Ground yourself in the present, where change begins. The power of small steps lies in their consistency. Over time, they reshape your heart. They rewrite old stories, they soften harsh voices, and they build a foundation for lasting peace and forgiveness, one small, courageous step at a time. So today, take one small step. Speak a kind word to yourself. Write down a truth. Breathe deeply. Forgive a minor fault. Reach out for help. Whatever it is, it counts. It's part of your healing, and it's proof that you're still moving forward. Finding strength in vulnerability. Many believe vulnerability is weakness. They hide their pain and shame to protect themselves. But true strength lies in vulnerability, in showing up honestly with all your cracks and scars. It's where healing and forgiveness truly begin. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you open the door to connection. You let in compassion from yourself and others. You stop carrying the weight of silence. You acknowledge your humanity and create space for growth, understanding, and love. Vulnerability means admitting you're not perfect, that you made mistakes, that you feel pain. It means being brave enough to face your inner struggles without running away. It's an act of courage, not defeat. It's the beginning of authentic self-love. You don't have to share everything with everyone. Vulnerability is about being true to yourself first. It's about owning your story without hiding or exaggerating. It's about accepting your feelings and choosing to heal, even when it's scary or uncomfortable. When you embrace vulnerability, you give yourself permission to be real, to make mistakes without hiding, to ask for help without shame, to cry without guilt, to forgive yourself without conditions. That freedom is powerful beyond words. Remember, you don't have to carry your burdens alone. Sharing your truth, even in small ways, lightens the load. It invites others to support you. It reminds you that you are human, and humans are worthy of kindness, patience, and grace. Next time you feel the urge to put on a mask or retreat, pause. Ask yourself, what would happen if I let down my guard? What would healing feel like if I allowed myself to be vulnerable? Let vulnerability guide you toward wholeness. You are stronger than your fears, more capable than your doubts, more deserving than your shame, and vulnerability is the key that unlocks that truth. It's not a weakness to hide from, it's a gift to embrace. So breathe deeply, lower your defenses, speak your truth, even if it trembles. Know that every act of vulnerability is a step toward healing, self-forgiveness, and freedom. And in that truth, you will find your greatest strength. Embracing your journey forward. Forgiving yourself is not a destination, it's a journey. A path filled with twists, turns, setbacks, and breakthroughs. It's messy, imperfect, and deeply human. And that's what makes it beautiful. Because it's your story, unfolding, growing, and healing. You may never completely erase the past. You may carry scars and memories, but you can choose how you live with them. You can choose to let them shape your compassion, not your shame. You can choose peace over punishment, freedom over fear. Every step you've taken to forgive yourself has mattered. Every moment of courage has built your resilience. Every act of kindness to yourself has planted seeds of hope. And even on the days you feel lost, remember, healing is still happening beneath the surface. You don't have to be perfect to deserve forgiveness. You don't have to be flawless to be whole. You are already enough, with all your faults and all your strengths. You are worthy of love, peace, and second chances. Look back not to condemn yourself, but to honor how far you've come. Celebrate your growth, your persistence, your bravery. Allow yourself grace when the journey feels hard. and trust that each day is a new opportunity to choose healing. You are not alone on this path. Others have walked it before you. Others will walk it after. There is strength in community, in shared stories, in mutual compassion. Reach out, let others hold you when you need it, and offer your hand when you can. Most importantly, embrace yourself fully and tenderly, with all your mistakes and miracles, with all your shadows and light. Forgive yourself not just once, but every day, as often as you need, because self-forgiveness is a practice, not a perfection. Your story is still being written. The next chapters are yours to create, filled with hope, with healing, with love, and with the peace that comes from finally letting go and choosing to live free. So step forward with courage. Step forward with kindness. Step forward knowing you are worthy, just as you are. And let forgiveness be the gift you give yourself today and always. Thank you so much for watching today's episode on Talk Bright English. We've not only practiced English together, but we've also taken a powerful step toward healing by learning how to forgive ourselves. Remember, learning a language is a journey, just like personal growth. It takes time, patience, and daily practice. And here on this channel, we walk through both journeys together. If today's lesson helped you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below. What part touched you the most? Or tell us what else you'd love to learn. Keep shining, keep learning, and keep growing, because your voice matters in English and in life.